Hello and welcome back to my channel and welcome back to my Top Trumps TBR. So every month I pick out a whole bunch of cards from my Top Trumps pack to help me choose my reads for the next month. Now I'm also doing several readathons. I've discovered that actually the more books I have on my TBR, the more books I read. Who'd have thought it? I'm going to have a whole stack of books on my TBR this month because I have found actually that I like the choice and I am a bit of a mood reader, so having a lot of different books on my TBR means I am more likely to read them. So that is what I'm going to do. So we are going to start with my Top Trumps cards. I'm going to pick 4 books that are my basis TBR and then we will build up as we go with the readathons, and I will tell you all about the many books I'm piling onto my TBR this month because I don't like going outside, and reading is the perfect excuse to not get sunburnt. Just give these a little shuffle. The first thing I do when I'm picking out a card is pick out an author that I have not read before. So if the first card I pick out is an author I haven't read before, that's it, sorted. If it is, I have read that author before, then the card goes back and I pick another one. So the first one is Zadie Smith on Beauty. Now I have read White Teeth, so it won't be that author. I've also read David Arnold, Mosquito Land, so it won't be that author either. My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand is the first one. The next category is number of pages, so again I pick out 2 cards and I go with the book with the highest number of pages because I like to challenge myself. So the first book is Moxie by Jennifer Matteo, I think that's how you say it, Matteo, which is 330 pages, and the second book is I Am Thunder, which is 306, which means Moxie, Jennifer Matteo is going to be my next read. The third category is Goodreads Rating, so again I go with the book with the highest Goodreads rating. The first one that comes out is The Silence of the Girls with 3.9, and the second one is The Star Touch Queen, which is 3.56, which means Pat Barker's The Silence of the Girls is going to be my next read. The final category is cover art. Now I've explained 100 times how I work out the ratings of the cover art, but essentially it's out of 10, so the one with the highest number out of 10 is the book that I'm going to read. The first one is We Were Liars, which got 4, and then the second one is Every Heart a Doorway, which got 5, so that will be on my June TBR. Okay, so let's talk readathons. I am actually taking part in 3 separate readathons this month. I am taking part in Septima Self-Care Readathon, which is much trickier to say if you're trying to say it all in one go, so thank you for that, Sarah. I'm also taking part in the FeelGoodAthon and the Make Your Mythtaker. Now, for both self-care readathons, you can do the prompts in any order, whereas with the Make Your Mythtaker, you have to do them in a set order as you're following a journey. And what I also want to be doing is following my character's journey and making my Mythtaker as a short story. So I will put the link for that below, but essentially every day I will be updating that story and it will be based purely on the lessons learned from the books that I'm reading for this readathon. It's just to get me into the habit of writing every day for myself again, because I've been working on 100 different projects for 100 different people and I need to be selfish with my own writing, just a little bit, and this seemed like a fun way to get back into the habit of doing that. So we will follow that route via those books, but that's why I'm going to explain them to you in a set order. So we will start with the 4 books that I'm reading for Make Your Mythtaker, and then I will extend the list past that so that you'll see, but the idea is that I will be reading them in this order, not including my Top Trumps TBR, which I can read in between, etc. So I have decided that I want to be, I think it's a mercenary, I think it was mercenary / witch, is what I've gone for. So the first book on your Make a Mythtaker is Anticipated Read. I will be reading Christopher Paolini's The Fork, the Witch and the Worm. I went to call it The Fork, the Witch and the Wardrobe, and that is a very different book. So this is a sequel to the Eragon series. Now I know that the writing of the Eragon series was not amazing, but I'm really excited to read this, and this was one of the first books that I pre-ordered back when I decided I was going to start a YouTube channel and I knew that all my books would be fantasy related. I decided that was going to be my read. It also ticked off the prompt for Septima Snape's Self-Care Readathon in reading a book that gave you a bubbly feeling, because it's going to be a nostalgia read. Whether it's good or bad, it's going to give me a bubbly feeling because it's just silly childrenness, if that makes any sense. So I'm excited for that one. The next prompt is a book with a weapon on the cover. So I'll be reading Throne of Glass. And actually this ticks off so many prompts for all 3 readathons. For Make a Mythtaker you needed a weapon on the front, done. For Septima's self-care readathon, it ticks off the guilty pleasure because I have recently been reading a lot of Sarah J Maas and I've been really enjoying it. It is just something. It is something, and I really enjoy it. No more questions. I will be taking no more questions at this time on that. But it also, for the self-care readathon, FeelGoodAthon, it's also ticking off the buddy read, because I'll be buddy reading this with Tish, which I'm very excited about. It ticks off read a book younger you would have loved. This would have been so my jam. I can't believe I've made it to 28 before reading this. Yes, I'm an adult. Did you know? I don't know if you knew this. And it's a book that I have high hopes for. I've really enjoyed Sarah J Maas's writing, so I will be really surprised if I don't enjoy this. I think this is her first ever book. I know it's the first in the series, obviously, but I think this is her first ever book. So it'll be interesting to see, because actually, as much as I really enjoyed Crescent City, I've enjoyed the A Court of series even more than I enjoyed Crescent City. So maybe, if I go back even further, this will be my all-time fave. Who knows? We shall see. But it ticks a lot of the boxes that I enjoy in a fantasy. Female protagonist, badass characters, etc, etc. That's really all it takes for me to enjoy a book. So again, really excited to have this on my TBR. The next prompt is read a book featuring a battle, and I have decided to go with the Penguin collection of First World War poetry. It also ticked off the FeelGoodAthon's short read prompt. Obviously it's about the First World War, so there's lots of battles in here, and I thought that although I read a lot of hard fiction, I needed a quick read with the amount that I was piling up, and I haven't read this in a while. I used to teach some of this poetry, but I haven't read every poem in this, so I thought it would be a nice little breakup that will also make me think of horrible, sad things, and so it included a battle, so it seemed to tick off those prompts quite nicely. But I got this for £1 in a charity shop, so there's that. It's at this point that my pathway or journey or myth takes a bit of a turn, because we go from standard mercenary to witchy style mercenary warrior thing. That is why we're going to go to a different tack and go occult themes. This book was gifted to me by the wonderful Ashley, who is obviously co-hosting Make a Mythtaker with Charlotte. It is about girls and magic and stuff, and I'm very excited about it. Very excited. I don't know necessarily what the story is going to be, but I've heard good things, and thank you again, Ashley. Very excited. I'm going to take all of this garb off now because I'm wearing leather and whatever these things are called, and it is so hot. This is one of those orbs you use for photography. I've never used it for photography, but it feels magic just to hold it. Anyway. Okay, so once that's all over, I do still have a few prompts left over from the self-care readathons, both Septima's and the FeelGoodAthon. So we're just going to quickly run through those as well. I've got a big old stack. So the next one is Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. Now this will be my first ever Leigh Bardugo, so it'll be interesting to see if I stan Leigh Bardugo as much as I enjoy Sarah J Maas, because obviously the internet goes batshit for both, so hopefully I will as well. This was to tick off read a host's favourite, and I think this is Tish's favourite as well, or one of Tish's favourites. I think that's why I picked it. So of course buddy reading with my bestie, and then this as well, which is just great. My glasses are steaming up. That's how warm it is. Again, I'm not entirely sure what this is about. I know this is dark academia, and this also ticked off the prompt, pick a book for a front cover. And I quite like my front covers nice and simplistic. This is obviously dark and spooky. It's got its black and red snake in the middle. It's just, it screams gothic, and that is my jam, which I've only just started talking about because I wasn't sure if it was going to be too niche, but you're going to hear a lot more about it throughout the year, so enjoy. The next one is the complete opposite. It is The It Girl by Cicely von Ziegesar. Now this is by the same author who did Gossip Girl, and essentially it focuses on Jenny, who is Dan's younger sister who goes to boarding school. I have read this series before. It is trash, but I love it so much, and I have about 8 books of the series to read, so I thought, fuck it, I'm 28, why not just completely relive my entire teenhood and just enjoy? So that's what I'm doing. It ticks off the prompts, read a book that makes you extremely happy, well you've already seen my enthusiasm, and reread an old favourite. So there you go. And then the last one there is 4 readathons, and I don't know if you can actually see how steamed up my glasses are, but this is ridiculous. The last book I'm reading for readathons is P.S. I Still Love You, which is the second book in the Lara Jean series. Obviously you know this, the film came out recently. I haven't seen the film because I want to read the book first. I did it the wrong way around last time, because I watched the film and then read the book, and then I loved the film more than the book. I mean, I loved the book, but the film I just thought was... So I'm worried that it's going to be the other way around. I've heard mixed things about the film, so I'm kind of leaving the film for now, cracking on with the book. It also ticks off the prompt to finish or continue a series, so I read the first book back in January, maybe December, so I need to crack on because it's been months. And to read a book in a bath or gives you a bubbly feeling. Now, I thought I was done with romance, like contemporary romance, and this book, well, the first book in this series, made me want to write a contemporary romance, so if that's not a bubbly feeling, I don't know what is. So we have that on the list. And then, because apparently that wasn't enough books, I got the arc for Fallout by C.J. Moore. This is a contemporary LGBTQ+ novel. Now, I don't usually read the back of books, but I just felt like I wasn't going to be able to sum up something that's so new, and it might be something that you've not heard of before. So it literally just says on the back, I am Cal Adams. What does that mean? I'm 16 years old, black hair, blue eyes, short and gay. For Cal, coming out is explosive, but that is nothing to the fallout from his family, friends and foes. When events in Cal's life reach critical, he is shaken to his core. Can he rely on his loved ones to help avoid a meltdown? Felt like, because I've literally just got it, I need to add it to my June TBR because else I'll forget and I need to review it, so we'll add that. And because I can't be trusted with my own adult money, I bought Saga 3, 4 and 5. I've read the first 2. I just couldn't resist. Look how pretty the front covers are. And I know that I'll read these in a couple of hours, so it just made sense to have them on my June TBR, because why not? That's it. That's all of the books. That is 15. We've got 15 books on my TBR. So there you have it. All of the books on my TBR, minus the ones that I don't own. 15 in total, and I'm very excited. I think I'm gonna go crack on, because it's a lot of reading to get done. But I'm excited. So I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope it wasn't too chaotic for you. The last video was a lot more chilled than this. I appreciate that. And the one before that was even more chaotic. So I guess we're back in business. Keep an eye out for the stories that I'll be writing as I read these, because I will be using the titles as chapter titles so that you can see just how quickly I'm working or how slowly I'm working through my reading list. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this video. I hope that you're liked and subscribed. And more importantly than that, I hope you have a nice day.